Hello and welcome to Access Paranormal. My name's Jamie Williams, and joining me in the studio I've got Marie.
Hiya, Jamie.
And we've got an author called Jay. Hello, Jay.
Greetings, Jamie.
Now you're going by the name Magister.
Magister, yes.
Magister,
that's right.
yep. And you've got this book out and it's called Tread the Dark Night Softly. Can you tell us a little bit about the book, please?
I can indeed, Jamie. I'm going to actually have a look at the foreword, because it's probably best actually doing it from the foreword, yeah? Okay. It's a collection of poems taken from my life's journeys and observations.
Right, and you know when you say your journeys and observations, right? Is this the way what you've gone through life, to where you are now?
To where I am now, but it's mainly of a metaphysical incline.
Tell us a little bit about the metaphysics, Jay.
Okay, metaphysics is the science which looks at the first principles of nature and thought. That includes the abstract, the magical, and the transcendental. Do you want me to explain a bit more about what they are?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, we all know what the abstract is. So the abstract is of the mind ideas, nothing concrete, nothing empirical. Then we move on to the magical, taking the forces of the universe and directing them with a will to cause change of energy and matter. Mm-hmm. And then we move on to the transcendental, which is anything basically transcending from this plane, the physical plane of existence, to the astral plane.
Right, now we'll be talking about a little bit about the astral plane a little bit later on.
Okay.
Now, your book itself, I mean, it's obviously a little bit of a biography of your life, really, in poetry.
Yeah, it's metaphysical poetry mainly, but there is romance in there, there's sadness in there, there's how we as humans maybe have seen life. There's beggars on the streets, there's poor people, there's animals, there's you name it, there's all kinds in it.
And are the poems themselves, are they in an order of your life, or are they
they're
just
not necessarily in order, but there's a kind of cryptic meaning in each one of them. Yeah.
And hopefully for the likes of me, I'll understand that.
You will understand it, Jamie. It's written for the common man.
Mm-hmm. That's okay then.
The easy read of it.
Because I am a common man, basically.
Well, Jay, I've known you for 20 years now, and you've been wanting to write a book for a long time, and it has been a long time coming, but it's here and it's out there. Well, it will be out there soon. You just brought the book, what the publishers have sent to you.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have that book now in your hands?
Having that physical copy is brilliant, because as I say, it's been a long time coming, and I decided to kind of write this. I've been deciding to write it for a long time, but I took the step last year to actually write it. Yeah.
And how did you go about composing the book? What made you do it, and how did you come about doing this particular book in poetry? Okay,
wrote my first poem when I was 21, and it was a love poem. About a love that was lost. So that kind of thought, I can do this. I need to do more. So over the years, I've just written more poems about different aspects of my life, journeys all around the world, mainly journeys speaking to learned men, wise men, philosophers, the magi of the East, magicians, sorcerers. Believe it or not, it's all in there.
And that's in this book, what's coming out.
Yeah.
It is. Now, the name of the book, not the name of the book, the name of, as you as an author, is Magister.
Magister, yes.
Magister. Can you tell us how you come about that name, or how you got the name?
It comes from a very early experience I had. When I was basically an infant, I had these prophetic dreams and nightmares, which I didn't understand at the time, but I was... Night after night, I had this recurring dream where I saw this dark, foreboding mountain, and there was lightning coming off the top of it, or striking it. I didn't know which, but I thought, I've got to get to the top of this mountain. I'm not scared. I need to find out the truth about what this is and why I'm having these nightmares. It took me a while to climb this mountain, but when I finally got to the top of it, it was flat on top, but like it also had like a sheen of polished concrete with very kind of ornate symbols in the concrete as well, and there was like a replica of Stonehenge up there, which was very strange. And then there was a stone throne in the centre of this whatever you want to call it, megalithic structure. And then on the throne, this guy was sitting there, very Merlin-esque character, probably a similar age to me now. Flowing beard, grey hair, very a scary character, but also very gentle in his guise and his persona. And he looked at me and smiled, and he raised his hand to the heavens, and lightning came from his hands up into the heavens. Absolutely awesome and unbelievable. And he just looked at me and smiled, and then I woke up. I thought, what was that? You know, even at this age, I told my parents, oh, it's just a dream, it's just a nightmare. You will get over them, kind of thing. But I knew there was a deeper meaning. Now, the funny thing is, when I was probably in my mid-teenage years, probably about 16, 17, I joined the Paranormal Society. I won't tell you the name of the society, but they are quite well known in that realm of being. And they said, you know, what are you interested in? I told them exactly what I was interested in. And it got to about a month or 2 months, and I had no phone calls or anything. I thought, I'll just give up on this. And all of a sudden, I got this phone call saying, we've got an investigation for you to go to. Someone you need to interview. So I thought, okay, so you've got to go to Sefton Park, and there's a house in Sefton Park, go to it. Okay, I'll go to it. And it was a Sunday afternoon I went. And this house was like an old Victorian house, massive house, and had a big ornate oaken door with these black wrought iron fixings. And just as I was about to knock on the door, this guy opens the door, and I looked at him and I thought, I've seen you before. And he smiled at me and said, yeah, I've been expecting you to come in. So he said, you know, my name's Magister. And I said, he said, you have seen me before, haven't you? I said, yes, I have. I said, but it can't be. He said, where have you seen me before? I said, well, I used to have dreams or nightmares when I was a child, recurring nightmares. And I told him what the nightmares were. And I said, and you were the guy on top of the mountain? And he said, yes, I was. I said, but how do you mean, yes, you were? I don't understand. He said, I've been watching you for a long time. And then, you know, arranging this basically to a meeting.
For the meeting, yeah.
And I thought, what? And he said, Jay, you're going to be a writer, and you're going to write about certain things which people aren't going to understand, but they will do in time. And I thought, okay. Now, I spent quite a long time with this guy over the years. He's no longer here, but the house is still there in Sefton Park, and I still have access to it. So his house was like a museum full of antiques, esoteric paraphernalia, metaphysical books, tomes, ancient, you name it, you know, things like that. For anyone who's listening out there who knows about metaphysics, things like the Key of Solomon, you know, the Lesser Key of Solomon and stuff like that.
Right. And this person who taught you, did you go on a regular basis, daily, weekly?
Yes, I used to stay over there weekends. Sometimes I'd take a week off and I'd stay there. And my parents were very understandable when I told them what was going on. There was nothing, you know, weird going on. Well, not of that kind of nature anyway. Certainly some weird stuff going on, but it was magic. It was sorcery that was going on.
The kind of sorcery of the sorcerer's apprentice kind of thing.
Yes. Well, and more. I'll say that I think I can probably best describe it. There's 2 films that have been written. One of them was Dr. Mordred with Jeffrey Combs. I think it was done about 1980 or something like that. And it was the original Doctor Strange. I can't remember who was in it apart from Sir John Mills. He played an ancient sorcerer. But they're the only things I can kind of say are like what I'm talking about. This guy was amazing, and his abilities were second to none. And he showed me certain types of magic. And I'm not talking about sleight of hand here. And anyone who knows about sleight of hand magic, you know, it's called legerdemain. This isn't it. This is pure sorcery.
So what do you mean by that, sorcery? Because I don't know. So what sort of magic is it? Where do you start from?
Where do I start from? Well, it's taking the elements of the universe, and as I say, taking that energy and transmuting it. It's like alchemy, transmuting it into any physical object you can think of. For and I think Einstein said, E equals mc squared, which stands for energy equals mass times by the speed of light. So it's relative.
Is that getting something out of fresh air, basically?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Wow. Now, there's a lot of films out there what show you sorcery and everything else. And now I've always said, and I've said it to many times, sometimes I think they throw things into films to get you used to it. Do you remember Tomorrow's World, the program Tomorrow's World? Used to bring things on. You thought, wow, this is the future. And you see these films coming out now, ghost films. You see hundreds and hundreds of like sorcery kinds of films. Are they trying to get us used to this kind of thing for the future? Do you understand what I mean by that?
I think that is highly likely. Even these films like the X-Men and stuff like that, Mutations, there are so many things that the normal human being don't know is possible out there. It's like these underground bases which the governments have, and they do have them, where certain experiments are carried out. It's you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that goes on in this. And I have, as I say, astral projected many times and seen many things, probably where it shouldn't have been, but I have seen.
So it's like preparing us really for things.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
And it's not too far in the future, but when you look at these films, to be honest with you,
it's not too far in the future at all. It's like remote viewing and astral projection. The government behind closed doors have used remote viewers since probably 1940s maybe, and it's amazing what you can do. I mean, James Bond, you don't need James Bond type of spies anymore. You use spies, and these are people who can astral project into places, or people who can remote view into places.
Right.
And in this book which I've written, it talks about the third eye, and once you can activate the third eye, you can go on astral projections anytime, anywhere, any place.
Yeah, I think we was on about this earlier, and you said about the third eye, and how do we get it working?
Well, this is another thing. At the moment, with a lot of human beings, the third eye, which is the pineal gland in the brain, is calcified, it's hardened. It's made of the same crystalline structure as the human eye, has all the same characteristics of it. But as I say, through drinking certain types of water and what have you, I think it's fluoride in the water. Maybe when there's a heck of a lot of fluoride in the water, this will calcify the third eye. And
that's what's happening with all this fluoride stuff. It's blocking it.
Yeah.
Now the third eye. I mean, I've heard of the third eye before, and you've got the eye of Horus as well.
Yeah, the eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye. Yeah, basically,
the all-seeing eye. Yeah,
the all-seeing eye.
Now, your book itself, it's all poetry, and I know that you've got other books in the future coming out in the pipeline. Yeah. Are they going to be like a continuation of this poetry, or are they all going to be poetry?
This one is an intro, and it's a very easy intro using very simple language to kind of look at what is possible in our life, and we all have the potential for greatness. We really do, if we just believe in ourselves and put our minds to it. I've written one there, called The Wonderland of Alice, about finding that other eye and using it to see in different ways. Yeah.
So you've thought about the titles as well.
Oh yeah, very much so.
I mean, The Wonderland of Alice, if you turn it around, it's Alice in Wonderland, obviously. Yeah. And I mean, you were looking at the book earlier on. That's Our House, Marie.
I was.
And you picked up one, didn't you, which you really liked, and you went, look at this, Jamie. But I'm not looking at anything at the moment. I won't read it until John's given me a copy.
I think it was called In Dream, or In Dream.
Oh, In Dreams.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me just.
Number 10 comes to mind, but I don't even know where that's just come out of my head from. So
it's not number 10.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say I don't know where that's come from in my head then.
Yeah.
Let me. Do you want me to find In Dreams? Or?
Yeah, please. Yeah. And if you want to, you can read it out to us, John.
I will do.
Okay.
This is all about. It's probably about reincarnation and a love affair, or that kind of happened many thousands of years ago in dreams. In dreams, I've held you in my arms. In dreams, I've kissed your lips. In dreams, I've gazed into your eyes. In dreams, I've dreamt that you were mine. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I've loved you from afar. I love you for the rest of time. I know one day that you'll be mine.
I think that is amazing.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It's on that straight away, those words. And it's one of them that you just stop and think, wow, you think about it and the meaning to it and everything like that. And in a way, it's got so many different meanings for so many different people, I suppose.
Of course. Yeah. It speaks volumes. I mean, for me, it's all about, a partner that I've loved, and our paths have crossed so many times, so many lifetimes, so many situations, and there's an animal magnetism there almost, and a charisma there almost that you don't forget, and you see these things. But at the same time, with reincarnation, which I firmly believe in, we're all part of soul groups.
Yes.
I believe that I've known you in a different lifetime.
You poor man, Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, you've known me 20 years.
Yes, I have.
I think that's long enough for you, isn't it?
And I've got the lines to prove it. Yes.
I couldn't resist that one there.
No, that's
Jay,
okay.
Is there any idea when the book's going to be coming out, or is it out now, or
it's
where
not out at
can
the
you get
moment.
it? Yeah.
This is a copy that the publishers have sent to me for me to proofread, and it's fine. So I've actually sent back the contract to say yes, go ahead and start producing more copies, and they're going to let me know when this is available. And when I get the heads up, I shall give you the heads up, and
We can give the word out there.
I'll definitely put the word out there. Yes.
I mean, it's going to be a fascinating read. I mean, that was one what Marie picked up on just like that. I mean,
brilliant.
You know me, I won't look at it yet until I've actually got it. And then
I can't wait.
It is a good book. I mean, even myself. I mean, one of my relations read it yesterday as well and said, "Wow, she knew I was going to do this, but she went, this speaks for people everywhere. If she can understand and read it and enjoy it, anyone can."
It was such an easy read.
Yeah, this is the first one. The second one will be called Shades of Light and Dark. That will go a bit deeper and a bit more instructional of how people can do things as well. And then the third one, not to say they're only going to be the only three, but the third one is actually called Magister, the beginning, and that takes this meeting with this character called Magister and how he teaches me. And that is all going to be that's all going to be in the book.
Yeah. And I suppose the easy read, as you go further along, it gets you used to the words that you're going to be using.
Very much so.
We'll learn a lot along the way on those.
It will be your lexicon esoterica, as I say.
It'll be like the Holy Bible for her.
Hey, Jamie, you never know.
I've got a feeling that Marie's going to read it before me, though, Jay.
Yes, it is some reading for her. Really, just that hit home, and loved it. I thought it was so special, and it really did make you think of different things and different levels and different planes, and things like that. And I always wonder about these different planes because. What level do we go to? Do we pass and that's it?
Well, once we've learned our lessons here and we do everything with a good heart and no ego involved, but we just do everything with a good heart, we can still enjoy ourselves as we do. I've enjoyed my life, but I still try and do everything with a good heart. We can still have a laugh and a joke and a drink and a smoke, or if you want to. There's no one stopping you doing that. But as long as you do everything you can with a good heart, because believe me, when you pass on from this existence and you visit what's called the Akashic Records on the higher planes, you will see life through all the people you met with your life. So every their eyes, through their eyes. Okay. So however I've treated somebody else, no matter how harsh or how nice, I will see through their eyes and feel everything they felt because of me.
That's very tense, that, isn't it? Because
It makes you have a different perspective on life.
it does, because I was just thinking about what you were saying, and I was thinking, oh my word, if you're seeing it from their perspective, you're gonna be judging yourself.
You will.
That's
You'll
it.
see your
If you understand
own
what I mean, you know.
faults,
That
won't
is
you?
it.
Through their eyes,
You are your judge.
Yeah.
That's
And you're the hardest judge.
Well, you are. I mean, you know yourself. You'd always judge yourself. You'd always. We always knock ourselves down, don't we? Because we only see us as we are.
Yeah.
We don't see it through your eyes. I don't see it through Marie's eyes.
We're not that empathetic yet, are we?
That's
no.
right.
So, how can they get in touch with you, Jay, to be able to ask when the book's going out, or when, if you can contact you to say when the book's
probably best
coming
doing it, because I'm actually on your Facebook page anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Probably your listeners can contact me through you, if
no
that's
problem.
okay.
Yeah.
And I will certainly answer as many questions as I can.
Mm-hmm.
But as I say, the answers are all in the book, and I will give you a heads up. When the book will come out. I'm also a sketch artist as well.
Fantastic.
So I will do you a picture, Jamie, as I promised.
Brilliant, because I want one for me studio I'm building.
Right.
So I want a nice spooky kind of one, or a kind of not spooky, but haunting.
Okay.
Because that's it's obviously the show, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
And have you got an email address, or is that not available yet? Or
no, it's not available yet.
Right. Okay then.
Otherwise, it's through Ghost Quest.
Yeah.
Is that right, Jamie?
Yep. You can contact me, or you can contact me on the show as well. It's info.accessparanormal@gmail.com, or please go and join our Twitter, and that's Paranorm1. So that's at Paranorm1. And if you want to contact me through there, or contact me through the email address, and we can pass it on to Jay if you want to. Don't go anywhere, because what we're going to be doing now is a friend of ours called Shell Louise. They went out into an asylum up towards Manchester somewhere. It's a secret location, and he's done a bit of a paranormal investigation.
Excellent.
And he recorded about 15-16 minutes of it for us. So we're going to play that now, and then we're going to come back to you. And what we're going to be talking about then is the Astral Projection a little bit more, and also the Akashic Records.
Sure.
And also a little bit later on we'll be talking about your paranormal experience as well. So let's listen to Shell Louise and 3 people who went out there a couple of weeks ago just for us.
Hi guys, well, it's Shell from Axiom. We've arrived at the location. I'm not going to say exactly where we are, but we are in the cemetery grounds of an asylum. All I can say is wow. It's a very eerie place. I'm joined by Wayne.
Hello.
And Donna.
Hi.
There's just the 3 of us. This is what we do. We come out for little recce's and source locations ready for the team. So we thought we'd nip out and have a look at this one. But wow, was it you who found this, Wayne?
Yeah.
How did you come across this one?
I was asking around about old asylums and churches and stuff, and somebody told me about this one.
Seriously, eerie place. Just as we've came in as well, myself, Wayne and Donna have all heard the same. What did we hear?
It's like a
Female going,
yeah.
We're not alone in this place.
We didn't. Oh, how can I put it? I heard it, Shell heard it.
What is that? It's somebody walking. That's footsteps on bracken.
On bracken, that.
Wayne, span your camera on that way. That's footsteps on bracken.
That's somebody going through the trees, that.
Holy moly. We would have caught that on the audio.
I hope so.
So
Hello?
the people listening,
Hello, is somebody here with us?
you guys could hear that.
Let yourself be known, please.
But there's been somebody walking. We are absolutely alone in the dead of night, and there is somebody walking through the wooded area.
Pitch black as well,
It's
isn't it?
pitch black. It's blacker than black, this. There are graves are all around us, into the ground, flat. There's 3 upright headstones. That's weird, because as soon as the lights went on, it stopped walking. Let's go again. Call out again, Don.
Hello? Is anybody here with us? you want to come forward and speak to us? You let us know where you are. You come with the utmost respect. We've just come to find out your story, if you've got one to tell us. We'll do you no harm. Please don't be afraid.
That is human footsteps.
That's human, it's got to be.
2, 1, 2. Wayne, spin your light over there. Yours is brighter than mine. That's human. Did you hear that? That's human.
I didn't
It's
know
got
it.
to be human.
That's human. I'm hoping that
It is human.
that is human.
There's probably a pathway on the other side
Listen,
there.
listen.
Should we have a look over there?
If you're brave, yeah.
Let's
If
go
you're
have a
brave.
look.
But I'm quite content to stand here next to Donna at this present moment in time.
I think what it is because it's so dark. We've never been to this location before. But it feels so busy, doesn't it?
Very busy.
Very, very busy.
Very busy. I remember now normally, as you know, I don't do any research on these places, but as soon as we were like, right, let's go on a Reiki, I didn't look at any history, any names. The only thing I do know is that this hospital, holy moly, that's footsteps. This hospital was sent out of a big scandal where they were actually torturing patients.
Were they?
Yeah.
I don't know, I've not read anything about it.
I read that when I was looking at the place. Wayne,
It's a dead end now.
can you just confirm this with me? Have you done your research on this one?
Yes.
Okay. I read a little bit. I didn't read any names. I did read that this hospital was central of a big investigation regarding abuse of patients.
Many years ago.
That's true.
Yes.
So electrolysis and water treatment.
Yes, same again.
Same again.
It's the other one, didn't we?
Yeah. So they were treated.
Barbaric
Treatment, yeah. So these were lunatics. They were really mentally deranged patients.
I think it was as early as 1980s, you know, late 80s.
So it's not that long ago neither. That's human. Could you show yourself to us? Please don't run out of that bush. Please don't run out of that bush. What are we going to do if it's a bloody werewolf and it runs out? My mind's just gone into over
Do
imagination.
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play possum, pretend I'm dead.
Maintain the fetal position.
Roll on my back. No, I'm just...
Donna's seen something. She's gone after it. She's done a shell.
Could be a fox.
Could be a fox, could be an animal, but it was very left, right, left, right. Yeah, very, very humane. Okay, reverse. That's left, right, left, right, left, right.
Right, left.
Yeah.
Definitely, it sounds like human footsteps, and actually in the bracken. See, all the way along is a metal fence.
Okay.
And then there's all trees and bushes and stuff.
There's no way anything
But
could
there's
be
no-
in there if it was a breather, a physical.
There's somebody walking about in there.
Well, that's where the old asylum actually was, in that area there. So are we dealing with a patient or are we dealing with
Breather.
a breather?
Who's wandering amongst the bushes. But I've asked him to come out. He's not making himself
My
known.
gut,
There's an entrance.
my gut is telling me.
The gate, right?
Yeah, that's to the other pathway that we came down. My gut is telling me that this is a spirit and this is a patient.
So, I wonder if they can...
Can you come out and show yourself? Is that you?
No, I didn't move.
You heard that then?
No.
You heard that? Anyone else here like walking? On the grass this time?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear it.
Okay, because I'm going to have to do descriptive. We are surrounded. Yeah, I heard that. No, I really did. You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
We are surrounded by flat grass areas which contain graves.
Not a leaf falling.
Do you know what, Shell? I need to back off a bit.
I think we need to step. I'm not feeling very secure here. Wayne, back off.
Back off, Wayne. My stomach's telling me that.
My gut is saying this is not safe. That's why I'm like, this is not.
Go.
Let's go back to these graves here.
Yeah.
So we're surrounded by graves of mental patients. So we're doing this for Access Paranormal, Northwest Access Paranormal. A little recording from us three. That's better. Whoever's got that big light on, that's cracking. I just feel a bit safer.
I turned it down.
Didn't like that, Shell.
There was a lot of noise then over there.
There was a lot of noise over there.
Did not like that at all.
I'm going to try my cameras now, so I'm going to come off this recording so I can hold my camera. I'm going to try this full spectrum side now and see what we can... What's that? No. Are they steps or a bridge? What's that?
They look like it, don't they?
Holy moly.
Something's in there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's big. Whatever it is, it's big to do that, them footsteps.
I was thinking at first, is it an animal going through them? But when you listen to the footstep, I went right up to them bushes, as you know, and it did not sound like an animal to me.
That's squirrel. Is it? They look like steps, then, don't they?
Should we walk that way and have a look? Okay, so we're just going to walk to the east side, have a eat shredded wheat. Yeah, the eastern side, where it almost looks like there's a monument there.
Mm-hmm.
So where we are, this would be leading up to like an entrance, surely. Oh Lord, I heard that right behind us.
I just think my light's like that then.
Oh, somebody's just walked on this gravel. Wayne, did you hear it? Something just went on the gravel behind us.
I just think I went like that with my torch straight away like that.
This is a very, very busy graveyard. What does this say?
Walter.
What was he?
Lucy Walter.
What was
wife.
he? I heard that. Okay, stop playing games. If you're spirit, we embrace communication. But then if it's if it's a lunatic, God forbid.
Well,
There's something walking in there, 110%. You see, the problem we've got, let's be honest, right? These were some of the worst patients in this area.
Yeah.
So they didn't understand command and order.
No.
Now, where I'm shouting, please don't do that, stop it, they don't understand that what they're doing is actually quite scary, but to them, it's just communication. Does that make sense? Right, now I'm getting freaked out because I swear to God, Donna, I thought you were stood at the side of me then. No, really, on a level, I thought you was just stood at the side of me, but it was a very light blue top.
Right.
Not like a nurse's, it was like a gown. That was right at the side of me then. Wow. I thought you were still there.
No,
That's freaked me out.
I'm hearing movement all around us, so I'm taking flank and walking round.
Well, next time you take flank, let me know when you've gone left and right, because my knickers have just took flank. I just looked to the right and I thought, that's not Donna. Breathe. Wayne, did you feel that then?
no, I didn't know.
Do you know when...
When I'm concentrating on something, it's a lot.
Do you know when you know that somebody's at the side of you and you can feel the presence and you just presume it's the person, your friend who was stood there 2 minutes ago? But Donna's just walked away from me and I've turned around and it was light blue and I thought, well, that's not Donna. Who the hell are you? Do you want to try calling out here? Because we're kind of in the open here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Go on, let's go. Ground your feet, let's do this. Because if it walks on this gravel, you see, because we're on this. Oh, look, white feather. There's white feathers on the floor. So we're on gravel, so if anything does walk, we'll pick it up on audio.
You can see behind me and I can see behind you.
Yeah, watch our back.
Actually, you can't see behind you because that torch is really bright. Oh, there you go.
Better.
There you go.
Do you hear that? I'm
You
so
know-
nervous.
Do you know what they're doing?
They're
They're
surrounding us.
letting us know they're here. By one way or another.
There's actually nothing you can see, is there?
No, it's so bizarre.
It's really busy, isn't it?
Very busy. Very, very, very busy. If there's anybody here with us, can you walk towards us so we can hear your footsteps? I'm Shell,
I'm Donna.
And I'm Wayne.
and we'd love to meet you. Could you tell us your name? That's footsteps.
There is footsteps. It's quite light,
Very gentle footsteps.
very
I'm
gentle.
feeling female.
as if they're being very
Nervous,
apprehensive
yeah.
and approaching us.
We're not here to hurt you. We come as friends. Please don't be afraid or don't be scared.
Reckon that might be over
So
there.
it banged.
Was that a bang, not a growl?
That was a bang.
Okay. I've got a name. That was quick. Kitty. Kitty.
What's on that gravestone there, Shell? Is it Lucy?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking,
Kit-
I wonder if her name would have been
Kitty.
Catherine, but she'd be called Kitty.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. But Kitty, that was just given.
Maybe it's one of the nurses.
I have no idea. I don't. See now, no, I'm not feeling. I'm feeling that this was a patient.
Mm.
Black hair tied up, top of her head. Kit. Yo. Should we put a REM pod down, do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just pop it near us somewhere so we can see it.
Flashy ball.
Or a flashy ball, yeah.
Well,
so-
I've got them all through. Let's
Kitty. You was giving me that name, so you want me to talk to you. You're showing me that you're around.
put that one there then. Over there. I'm going to put this one behind you.
Can you understand me? Okay, there's movement again this way. I know it's hard and we're strangers, but we're not here to hurt you at all. We are here to help you. Okay, so what we're doing now, we're putting down
So we got two.
balls, sensor balls, so if anything touches or moves near them, the balls will go off and let us know that, you know, it's been manipulated. I'm just seeing something again.
One of us.
Yeah, pop it around where we've got most movement. So the REM pod, for the people who are listening, you'll hear it go off, you know, it has an alarm on it, as you can hear. It lets us know when there's something around us. It has a field meter, so if there's a temperature spike or there's static around it, or there's magnetic field, it will give us a signal, an alarm will go off. Yo, I heard that. Like people walking through the bushes. Many people. Yeah. That's definitely human. Or that is spirit with big footsteps.
Let me know.
That's Wayne blowing his nose. Can you come towards us? Could you let us know you're here? There's some balls. Yes, yes, yes. The ball directly in front of us is going off.
Thank you.
Thank you. I said there was something here. Are we filming this as well?
Yep.
Brilliant. Again, thank you. That is really good, and it's exactly where we said we heard the footsteps. So the ball is lighting up directly in front.
If you move forward, thank you for lighting that ball for us. If you move forward, you see this little box here? If you touch it,
That's Donna. Donna touching it.
it won't hurt you. It won't do anything. It just lets us know you're there, where you are. And you can use it to talk to us. Can you touch it?
110%. They are big footsteps coming all around us now. We are being corralled in your words. Can you hear that?
Mega.
Wayne, are you hearing that?
No, I didn't hear it. Was it footsteps?
Yep.
People right over the other side of the field, but
Okay, we ask you again. Can you touch one of those balls that are around on the floor? Can you see them?
and it's over.
Yeah.
There's somebody
See
there.
that?
Yeah. What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's people over there, I think.
So there's people walking past that. They're about 200 metres away from us. Can you
Yeah,
hear them
laughing.
laughing? That's not paranormal, that's quite normal, and there's something moving behind us now. Do you hear that? Them bushes are moving.
Can't rule out a little animal or something, sure.
Foxes, rats, voles, moles. We've got to.
You can't exactly say it is that.
Oh, there, yeah, look,
Oh,
look.
another ball.
There you go. The ball to the left is going off now. Thank you. You did say come closer. Here they come.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Could you come towards us to this box on the floor, the square? If this is you, Kitty, can you do that again? You light something up for us? That was pretty cool.
That was very cool.
Coming over here, look.
Yeah, they're coming over here.
They're going down that pathway.
So that was Shell Louise out in her little mini investigation up there in Manchester. But we've got Jay in the studio still, and we, as we said before we went on to the little mini investigation there, is we were going to talk about astral projection. So Jay, tell us a little bit about astral projection.
Astral projection is out of body experience, out of body travel, and you can basically travel anywhere in the earth, on the earth, or in the sky, in the universe.
Right, and it sounds like beyond, what a human can do.
It sounds beyond human comprehension.
Yeah, it does. I mean, there's a lot of things like that anyway.
Yeah.
And astral projection itself is this like a big thing? Is there's a lot of people who can do this, or is it down to like you were talking about the sorcerers before? Is it down to the likes of them, or is it anyone can do it?
It's an interesting thing because yes, sorcerers can definitely do it, and have been doing it for a long time. The magi and the fakirs of the East have been doing it for a long time. The ancient mystics have been doing it for a long time. Buddhists, anyone who practices meditation, transcendental meditation, have the potential to do astral projection. I had my first out-of-body experience for astral projection at the age of 14.
Wow, and how did that come about?
It was very strange. I'd been reading the books of Lobsang Rampa, whose origins were quite controversial anyway. He was a proposed Eastern mystic, but he was actually from the West, a guy called Cyril Hoskins, and it was quite interesting. So I'd been reading up on his life, and I thought, I'm going to try this astral projection. So I came home from school one day and I said to my mum, I'm going to go up and try astral projection, and she kind of looked at me, oh, astral projection, and I said, yeah, it's a form of out of body, experience, travel. Oh, okay. So I went up, laid on my bed, and I must have done this for about an hour. I just couldn't do it. And my mum called me finally for my evening meal, and I said, "Oh, yeah, I'll be down now. I'll come now." So I lay down on my bed. Now I just, what I thought, fell asleep, and I must have fell asleep because it was about an hour later, and my dad shouted at me this time, and said, time for your TJ, and I thought, oh, I'll definitely have to get up. So but I was still tired. I was still in this kind of sleepy haze, this kind of hypnagogic state, and I'm lying there, and I thought, I've just got to will myself to get up and go downstairs. So I did. I willed myself to get up, and all of a sudden I reached out for the door handle on my bedroom, and my hand went straight through it, and I looked at my hand and I thought, what? And I looked back at my bed, and my physical body was still lying on the bed. And I realised I'd done astral projection, and I thought, now I've done it, I'm going to have to get back in my body and go down for my dinner.
How can you think like that? I mean, if that was me, I'd be in a panic. I don't know about you, Marie.
The funny thing is, when you panic, you go back to your body automatically anyway. Right. So there's no fear of kind of, if you ever astral project and you go off into space, or you go somewhere that you really shouldn't be, and you start panicking, thinking, am I going to die? Your cord, you're connected by an astral cord, which is a silver cord, and that will actually bring you back to your body straight away. So there's no fear of kind of passing on or anything like that. Right.
And what did you do? Did you go back into your body, or? Yeah. You didn't go on like a little bit of an adventure, because I think that would have been man, or
that came later, James.
Do you think your mum would have got into trouble with your mum?
It was tea time this time.
Exactly, and I love my food, James. I didn't want to miss my dinner.
Food before astral, yeah.
The funny thing is, probably later on in that week, I thought, I'm going to try this. Now I've done it, I'm going to try again. So I went to bed early, about 7 o'clock, where you'd normally go to bed about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in them days. Went to bed 7 o'clock, and I thought, okay, get myself relaxed and chilled and what have you, practice my breathing exercises, and I came out of my body, and it was dark, and I thought, well, this is okay. I wasn't scared. I thought, where can I go to? And I thought, okay, and I went to my school.
Right.
I went to my school, because that's the only place I knew where I could kind of think, where everything is. Went to my school, and I went into, we had an arts theatre in them days. I went into the arts theatre, looked around there, and then I went into there was another place where we used to do arts and crafts and things, and I'd been making this sculpture, because I'm quite arty. Made the sculpture, and I thought, I wonder if I could actually push the sculpture over, just to prove that I'd been there. And I'm kind of thinking about Einstein and E=mc² and matter. I thought, well, if energy is matter, just kind of condensed, kind of thing, I should be able to kind of touch or will this thing to fall on the floor. And lo and behold, I did. I pushed it over and it broke on the floor, and I thought, yes. And even though I'd been working on it for a week, I thought, yes, I've done this. Brilliant. So I saw this glass window as well in the school, and I thought, I wonder if I could kind of crack the window at least. A bit like Spies can do these things. Not James Bond, but I thought, just to will this thing, if I can do that, I can do that. So I looked at this glass pane, and I just looked at it, and I willed myself to go through and crack it, and I did. I smashed it.
Right.
I smashed it.
I mean, at that time, you're a 14-year-old
Yeah.
person. What? I mean, that's the deep thought for a 14-year-old person. That's a lot of deep stuff that you were doing.
But the funny thing is, I'd never had a kind of, I would say I'd never had a normal childhood. I was never into football or any of the normal pursuits that normal children had. I was more into kind of the deep philosophy, deep Eastern philosophy, deep metaphysical philosophy. And, you know, I'm thinking, okay, if you put your will to anything, you can do this. And this proved it. And there's lots of people out there now who can do things if they put their mind to it, even at that level.
Right, and when you done this, and you cracked the window and you knocked your little
thing on the floor.
When you got back into your body and you went into school, did you straight away go and check?
Oh yeah.
And
there were police there.
There were police.
Yeah, there were police there in the morning. Yeah, and I kind of went through, and one of the teachers, I said, "Excuse me, sir." He said, "Move on, boy," kind of thing. I said, "Well, excuse me, sir." I said, "What's happened?" He said, "Oh, nothing to do with you. Don't worry." And I thought, yeah, if only you knew. Well, I said, "You know what's happened?" He said, "We've had a kind of break in." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Anything been stolen?" And he went, "Well, I say, it's nothing to do with you, Jay. You know, just move on. All will be revealed later." But I saw the police just scratching their heads. There was because there was no. There
was no breaking.
There was probably fingerprints on my thing, but it was my thing that broke.
Yes.
So I wasn't too not too bothered.
Yeah.
But again, I thought, okay, now I've got to do something else. And about a week later, I managed to kind of astral project again, and I went to America because we had relations in America.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and
places where you visited, you've gone back to them.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
to start with.
Yeah.
That is a really big thing to start off with. But as you said, you started off from being younger with this dream.
Yeah.
And then you've learnt from that, and you've built yourself up. Is that right? Is that the right order that it's gone in?
Yeah.
So as Jamie was saying, it's not a normal childhood sort of thing, but because you had these strange dreams and from a young age, it brought you into it.
Very much
from
so.
very
Very
young,
much so.
And then for everything else.
I don't think there's anything normal about my life.
That's me.
So that's how it started off. It's meant to be.
And that's why when I joined this paranormal society, and finally I'd been sent on this investigation to meet this guy in Sefton Park.
Right. Yes.
And in his house, which is exactly what I wanted, and to need, first hand, hands on. And even though first of all I thought, no, because when I first kind of went to his house, I walked away and I said, I don't believe this. And he shook my hand and he said, okay, I'll leave you to it, kind of thing. But it was like the only thing I can say, it was like a Doctor Strange experience from the first film. This guy shook my hand and I felt an energy going into my very being. And for the week after, I could see things.
Right.
And it was almost like, I went to my local park one day, and it was almost like I went back in time.
Right, so what was your experience?
Well, it was like Victorian England in this park.
I see.
And I thought, okay, and I asked someone, I don't know if I'd time travelled or what, but I looked like me. And I asked this guy at the time, and he kind of got his pocket watch out. I looked at his pocket watch, he was wearing a full three-piece Victorian suit, and he had a woman with him, very flowing dress, umbrella or parasol, you'd call him in them days. It was a nice day. But when I'd gone to his house, it was autumn. But I'd gone back in time to the summer. Right. 100 odd, maybe years ago. It was so strange.
So with astral projection, can you go forward in time?
Yes.
And can you go back in time?
Yes.
So you've got the what time slips? It's like a time slip.
Yeah, you've got the ability to travel anywhere in the past or possibility to the future.
So we were talking earlier on about the way things are put into films to make you think. Now I don't really remember years ago there was one called the Time Machine.
H.G. Wells.
Time Machine. That's the one. And he went back in time, right back to the cavemen and everything else.
Oh yeah.
Do you reckon at that time, dude? I mean, I don't know how old this astral projection is. It's probably from the beginning of time,
yes,
really.
Yeah.
So, do you think? And I know it's going to sound a bit silly, but do you think it's the likes of that film that were trying to get you used to that kind of thing? So that was a time machine, or is that just like Back to the Future as it is now? You know.
I think the writings of both H.G. Wells and Jules Verne were very similar, and they were trying to give us some kind of information possible. You know, I'm very much into a thing called steampunk. I don't know if you've ever heard of steampunk.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's very kind of mechanical Victorian kind of style. Look it up on the internet.
Yeah,
I'm sure some of your listeners will know about this. But I've always had like a liking for pocket watches and waistcoats.
Right. Yeah.
And I nearly turned up in one tonight, but it was too cold. You know, but I've always had a kind of. I think I'd be better suited in Victorian times.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we all have that connection to the Victorian times, because I'm the same as you.
Yeah.
Love the Victorian stuff.
Yeah.
I love the different eras. And I mean, if somebody said to me, when would you like to go back to, or what year would you like to go? The 1800s.
Yeah,
just to experience, because they were so elegant and
Oh
so.
yeah,
I mean,
very much
today.
so. But I mean, you needed to have money to enjoy it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And going to this astral projection, I mean, okay, you've been to your school.
Yeah.
But at 14, how did you get into the? I mean, I'm going to ask you a little in a minute about where you have been. Have you been further than your school? But I mean,
okay.
The fascination. I'll just ask you. The fascination is at 14 you could astral project.
Yeah.
How did you get into the astral projection? How long did it take you to get from thinking about it to actually doing it? How long was it?
I would say once I knew the kind of the menu for it, what to do, I would say probably a week.
Wow.
I changed my diet. I didn't eat any fatty food. I only drank water for a day before doing it.
Right.
I love chocolate.
Yeah.
No chocolate, nothing stodgy, and it's all about breathing. So that's it. And I think we talk about the third eye before.
We did, yeah. Yeah.
So that is a big help as well, decalcifying that. So, and not to be scared about this, because your body does change when you do astral project. The vibration, the frequency of your body has to change. Your astral body has to split and separate from your physical being, and that's not an easy thing to do. But once you can do it, and you know the process of doing it, there's lots of exercises you can do, which is also in the book.
Yeah.
There's different ones on astral projection.
Yeah, and you've got to be kind of healthy in this, or is it?
Yeah, you've got to be healthy.
I
I wouldn't suggest anyone doing this who have chest problems or breathing problems or anything like that. So please, I'm not advocating you do that if you're not a healthy specimen of a being. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Right.
So you're saying that with the meditation there, that you need to get your breathing down, relax.
The average person probably breathes between 26 and 30 breaths per minute. So you have to bring your breathing down to about 4 a minute,
which is very healthy.
Which is
and
yeah, and it's very hard to do it unless you know what you're doing. But as I say, that there's exercises you can do to do that, and once you can do it, pardon the pun, but the sky's the limit. And different planes of existence are,
And you can pick this sort of thing up on the internet and that for meditation.
You
for
can,
beginners,
you can. You can read books like my books, and you can also read books like there was one famous in the realms of astral projection and out of body experiences. His name was Emmanuel Swedenberg. He was a theologian.
Yeah.
I think he lived around 1750 something, around those times, but he was brought up a Christian, and when he started astral projecting, unbelievable some of the places he went to. But at the same time, you're going to see stuff in the astral realms,
Yeah.
which aren't particularly friendly at times, but they're nothing to be scared of.
Well,
They're
they
just
stay
there for-
calm.
They're just there to. I mean, it depends where you go. If you're going to stay on the earth realm and just travel. Yeah, just see things, whatever.
Right, so you said the earth realm. What other realm was you thinking of?
There's higher planes of existence as well,
Right.
where you will meet other entities.
And is this in your book, or will you build, or is this what you know of?
This is what I know of, but
Yeah.
the thing is, I say this first book is just a bite
Yes.
to kind of
Yeah.
a taste it, because I don't want to scare people off.
No.
No.
You know, it's an exciting book, lots of information, lots of poetry, which covers all aspects. As I say, there's animal hunting in there, which I'm against. There's beggars on the streets, which shouldn't be beggars on the street, because there's enough food for all of us if we
Yeah.
really, think
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
There's absolutely all kinds. There's all kinds. And as I say, if you do things with a good heart for people, your vibrations will change.
Yes.
You really will. Your vibrations will change.
I don't want to stand in somebody else's shoes once I've passed over and think, oh
Well, that's
gosh,
it.
I've made them feel awful, or
Yeah.
I didn't realise I made them feel in such a way.
That's
or-
it.
And that's scary to feel
Yeah,
that, because I
yeah.
wouldn't like to.
But believe
be
me,
that,
you will have to go through that when you go to the Akashic Records, which, as I say, are on the astral planes, but a lot higher up. There are, and as I say, there's many planes of existence, but each plane, if you leave your body and go to the higher plane, it will be a replica of this plane.
Right.
Yeah, and you can hear distant noises from this plane, but the higher you go, the planes change to nicer places, and this plane seeps into the distance, and you don't hear it anymore.
Now, how far can you travel? I mean, you said before you went to your school and things
Yeah.
like that. I mean, that's probably just basic for you. That is.
Yeah.
Have you travelled further than that, and how far have you travelled? How far can you travel? Is it
It's
unlimited?
Jamie.
It's infinite, is it?
unlimited,
Yeah.
You went into
Yeah.
America, you said. Didn't
Oh
you?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's right,
went
yeah, you
to
went to
America.
America, yeah.
I've been to Egypt
Yeah.
in the past as well. I've been to Egypt in the past, which was quite interesting.
So where did it step up from this?
Wait, what's?
Where, once you've gone into your school and that, what was the next big thing? That
I
you
just
felt-
wanted. I say I wanted a bit more proof that
Yeah.
I'd actually done this. I'd had the kind of a small bit of proof. First of all, coming out of my body in the house. Then I wanted to kind of go somewhere, my school.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's a bit more proof. Now I need a bit more proof than that. It's like seeing a ghost. I'm not gonna believe in ghosts until I see it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly
empirical. You've got to
what
seeing is
proving.
believing kind of thing. And I wanted that
So
proof.
true.
So I went to America next, and I did the same thing in my uncle's workshop. I put a stool off his workbench onto the floor, and it broke. And then I asked my mum to phone up America. Now this is about late 1970s, and it was expensive to phone America.
I was going to say, you probably
Yes.
wanted the throttle,
Yeah. So I said to her, will you phone America and ask them? So, well, your relations are coming over in a couple of weeks. I'll ask them then.
Yeah.
So she did, and yes, we found the bench, the object. It was a small stool that my uncle had been making, and I kind of pushed it on the floor.
Do you
Yeah.
think this is something where poltergeist?
Well,
sort of thing,
that's a
Good
very
question, that one.
interesting
Yeah.
subject, because on one of the things that I did investigate many years ago was there was a bakery which was being haunted by a so-called poltergeist, and I'd heard about this, and I went along to investigate it. So went into knocked on the door, and I said, I hear you've got some ghostly goings on. He said, it's terrible. He said, there's trays being moved, there's ovens being switched on, there's absolutely all kinds happening. I said, okay, well, how long has it been going on for? He said, well, ever since I took over. I said, well, when did you take over? He said, about a month ago. I said, so did you buy it as a going concern or something? He said, yeah. I said, is the former baker still alive? And he went, yeah, he lives down the road. I said, okay, can I go and visit him? I said, yeah. So I went to visit this guy, and lo and behold, I said, what do you do on a daily basis? He said, I just sit and reminisce. I reminisce in my chair. I go to sleep and I dream that I'm doing this. I'm back in my bakery, I'm making bread, I'm doing all this kind of stuff. And I went, well, do me a favour for a week. Will you stop reminiscing? He said, well, it's going to be hard because it was my life for all my working life. God knows how many
I know
years.
where you're coming
Exactly,
from.
exactly.
Yes,
So
okay.
anyway, he stopped, and it stopped.
Yes, that's what I was thinking you was going to say.
Ghosts of the living.
So, I mean, that's quite clear. I mean, that's what poltergeist... So there could be what we think is poltergeist activity is someone somewhere reminiscing about being here.
Yeah.
It could happen here at Mill Street. You know when we see things or we feel things around, and we sometimes, I mean, James Anthony was here. We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about a room, and Shell Louise was here, and we were up in this room and we were talking about this, and they kept saying to us the same things happening, that the person's coming through again and again and again. Now, could that be someone who was reminiscing and they were doing the same repeated things again?
Highly plausible.
I mean, I know it sounds daft, that, because, I mean, who wants to do the same thing every day?
Well, if you enjoyed it,
yeah, I suppose so.
you know, why not?
Yeah. So,
But it could also be just the energy that still inhabits this place.
yeah. Now, we're going to move on in a little bit for the Akashic Records, but one question is the near-death experience, NDE.
Yeah.
Is that similar to the astral projection?
Very much so. It's basically the same thing, but on an unconscious level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we hear the stories of people in hospitals. It's mainly hospitals where you hear these stories, as you know yourself. You know, where they go above the bodies and you can see exactly what's going on.
Well,
you know,
the funny thing is, even the hospitals have made investigations into this and done experiments in it now, where they will leave something, an item, on top, especially in operating theatres, on the top of a shelf somewhere, which can't be seen by the naked eye when you're down below. It can only be seen when you're up at the ceiling. And people have been up there and seen these items and said, you know, I've actually had an out-of-body experience and seen this. Yeah.
That is brilliant
So
to look into something
very
like that,
much so.
isn't it? And to know about another level, definitely.
Yeah.
And a lot to learn in this.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
definitely looking forward to
Listen,
that
believe
book.
me,
it's a lifetime.
Certain people are only scratching the surface.
Yeah.
There is a heck of a lot more
There
to
is
know.
a lot more
A
out
lot
there,
more.
isn't there? In,
Yeah.
in everything, really.
Yeah, a
Yes.
lot more. Even the TV programs have only just scratched the surface about what's happening, what's possible, and what's going on.
We've
Well, that's
got a
what
big learning curve, haven't we? To
Yeah.
I think we've got
to learn.
a lifetime of learning. You know,
Well, that's why we're
the
here.
saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
You learn something every day. I think I've
that's
learned
why
more
we're here.
tonight.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
And that'll probably take us on to the Akashic Records as well, because everything we do, each thought, each conversation, everything we see, everything goes onto the Akashic Records, and these Akashic Records can be accessed through astral projection.
Well, what we'll do is we'll talk about that in a little bit,
Okay.
because I've got Shell Louise on the phone now, who's going to tell us a little bit about what it was like down at
Sure.
the asylum a little bit early on, what people listen to.
No problem.
So what I'll do is I'll just have a little quick talk with Shell. So Shell.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Shell. A couple of weeks ago, you went over to an asylum to do an investigation. Now, we played the investigation a little bit earlier on, and it sounded good. Can you tell us a little bit about where this asylum is?
I'm not going to give the location away. It's a very... the asylum itself is now gone. The grounds are still there. A housing complex has been built on it, which to me is crazy. But there is a cemetery there, and the cemetery contains the deceased of some of the worst lunatics that were incarcerated
Right, and
in the northwest.
And while you were there, did you start getting the vibes or the senses that they were coming through as soon as you got there, or did it gradually come into it? Because I mean, obviously we didn't get all the investigation; we just got what you sent me, and it sounded like it started from from straight away. I'm not sure if that's correct.
It pretty much did, to be honest. It was like, you walk through a clearing and you just there's there's 4 or 5 upright headstones. The rest are actually into the ground that you're walking on.
Yeah.
There is a small pathway, and you kind of take it back. you get an eerie feeling like, I am being watched. This doesn't feel healthy. And I don't mean healthy in the sense of mentality or physically. I mean, it doesn't feel right. There's something not right here.
Do you think it's the staff, the staff who used to be there, sadly, the ones who had passed away, and also the inmates themselves, or did you get that feeling that you were just being watched by something? Was it something protecting the place?
All, 100% all. It was like, you felt like you was one of those. You felt it was so active. You didn't know which way to look. You could feel eyes coming from all over. And
I know there was only you, Donna, and Wayne who went there. And how did Donna feel? And Wayne, because obviously you're very good at picking up things there. How did they feel? Did they pick anything up at all?
Well, it was a random one. We had no preparation. We had no information on the place. We just got told midweek recce, some possible location for the team to visit. So they had any preparation at all.
Sorry, Shell. So you went there as a recce and ended up doing an investigation?
Yes.
They're the best ones usually.
We went just to have a look to see if it was accessible, because obviously our team, we don't trespass. If it says no entry, we don't go. There's no point in breaking the law.
No, it's respect.
It is fully accessible, and it was one of Wayne's family that actually suggested it to him. So we thought, it's only up the road, a quick 10-minute drive. We'll just nip out in the car and go and have a look. Wow. No.
On the way there, did you know what you were going to, or was it like one of those investigations you don't know nothing until you arrived? So when you got there, it was a bit of a surprise to you.
It was a complete surprise. The only knowledge we had was obviously we had the area, and we had the 2 words, 3 words, lunatic hospital cemetery. And you put them 3 words together and it sends chills down your spine anyway. And to be fair, in the physical, a lunatic hospital would send chills down your spine, God bless them, but for them to be deceased.
Yeah, and to be buried on the actual grounds themselves. The place is going to be steeped in history. How old was the actual asylum itself, if you know that?
When we came away, as we said, we went down as a recce, just to case it, ready for the team to go in. We just thought it's a random one. We had a coffee, let's go. 1863. 1863, and it was designed as a pauper's lunatic asylum. So the most unfortunate and the most deranged were put in there.
And when you got there and you saw the place, are the buildings still there, or is the asylum still there, or is it just the land itself?
There are some parts of the building which do remain. The church that is connected, I nearly said the name then, I don't want to give it away.
That's okay.
The church which is connected to the asylum is still standing, but obviously it's got fencing around it and security, do not enter. There are parts of the original hospital asylum that still stand, but now there is a new mental patient unit that has been built onto it. So you have to keep your distance from that. For obviously, you have to respect and observe.
Of course.
Boundaries, but the cemetery is fully accessible.
So now you're at the cemetery, and now you're doing a recce. Did you just go on the spot, let's do an invest here and now, or did you know when you were going to get there that you were going to do this investigation?
We always carry, you guys are probably the same, most paranormal investigators I know, you always carry a torch in your pocket.
Yeah.
K2. But soon, obviously, again, the words asylum, hospital, cemetery, we thought that we need to see if this... We always test it, we get told, this place is haunted, let's go and have a look, and we take the equipment, do a quick recce, and there's absolutely nothing, and it's like, it's been hyped up. So we took a REM pod, we took a couple of cat balls, a DVR, a torch each, and a camera, and we just thought we'll have a look. And from the moment we walked in, all 3 of us heard a female, very clear female moan, and all 3 of us looked at each other and thought, this is going to be crazy.
Straight away.
straight away the energy is so charged.
Right. And so tell us a little bit about what happened, on your investigation. I mean, obviously we heard, some of your investigation, but obviously it's not all of it. So what happened, as you were going round the site and looking at the graves? Were you getting feelings that there's certain graves, or was it the whole place feeling strange?
We walked towards the patients' graves, and you could see that they were sunken into the ground. They were just headstones marking the names, that God bless them, the day of birth and date of deceased and their ages. And then there was a couple of monuments that were placed there for staff, and there was some military monuments in there where obviously PTSD with soldiers. Much respect to all our military.
Definitely.
Their graves are in there because back in the day there was no such thing as PTSD. When soldiers witnessed the atrocities of war, and they went, with depression and the horrible things that they would have seen, they were placed. A lot of them were placed in an asylum.
And that's the sad part, isn't it?
It's awful. Obviously, back then they didn't know there was anything such as dementia and Alzheimer's, and a lot of people were just placed in there and passed away from the community. So as you was walking over, I would walk over that part. It was like a solemn, but you knew you wasn't alone. It was like it didn't. Again, the term I want to use is it didn't feel right. It was a strange, weird feeling. And then we went through a clearing, and it was the weirdest thing. I mean, I've been doing investigations for a long, long time, as you know. And they were some of the loudest footsteps I have ever heard. It was like a 16-stone man was stomping his feet at the side of you.
And also, he was following you or coming towards you at the time. Was it like he was trying to stop you from going any further?
No, I'd say we were being corralled. They were coming from everywhere.
Oh, right. So obviously they've not had visitors before, and you've come along and you've thought, who are these people, and come towards you, or they're trying to make contact with you to say we're still here.
I'm not sure. I know the place is well maintained. You can see that the grass is cut, and there are some markers where people still have been respecting their loved ones.
Well, that's nice, yeah.
But the way these footsteps, I mean, you have to take the physical aspect and then the living realm aspect to it. That these people, God bless them, they had mental health problems. They had real mental problems, and they were classed as lunatics. So, I mean, at one point I was saying, no, don't do that. No, do that. They wouldn't understand order and command. They don't understand that that's quite scary what they're trying to do. It was hard. It was so hard, but there was a point of authority. At one point, the energy totally changed. We stopped the recording because we didn't feel safe.
Right.
We pulled away, and Donna picked up. She said, "I feel different." And at that moment, the energy of a male came around us. Donna gave a name, and it responded to the name, and the footsteps was getting quicker on the gravel towards us, and we knew, we need to back off. You don't know whether this person was possibly maybe having to be restrained, maybe they were physically abusive, we don't know. And as they say, that what you want wasn't the physical, you can take over into the afterlife, your personality, your behaviour.
And you can't imagine what they went through. I mean, I don't want to imagine really, but maybe they were coming over, because they've been dependent on people, if you understand what I mean. With being in an asylum, they were dependent on people. And maybe with you being there, they were coming to you straight away, it was like a dependency.
Well, this is what we was talking about this, actually. I don't think I don't know whether, I can't remember whether we had it on the audio, but we were saying, like, these people, because in the 60s, this went through a huge abuse and scandal.
Yeah.
They were being tortured, the patients. That some of the student nurses had gone forward and stated that there was senior staff were abusing these patients. So then you've got to take it that maybe they were fearful that they thought we were just another set of people coming in to hurt them. Was
Yeah.
they being defensive? Or was they approaching us for help?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a very difficult one.
So,
But
yeah, it is, and I mean, when you think of the way of the asylum, you'd always think the worst. Now, how long were you actually on the investigation for?
less than an hour. I think we did 20 minutes recording, and after those 20 minutes, I mean, we had some physical people, breathers as I refer to them.
Yeah.
They, you know, some people had been walking through with a dog.
Right.
So we stopped what we were doing because we didn't want to draw attention to us, and we didn't want to cause disrespect to the energies around us.
No, that's
But
understandable.
I'm going to hold my hands up now and say I thought that was disrespectful. They were letting the dog defecate on the grass,
Yeah.
around these graves, and I just shook my head and I thought, you don't really want to walk a dog around a gravesite. That's wrong.
It's very,
You know,
yeah. I mean,
very wrong. So we waited for those to pass, and then when they passed, we walked away and we waited for them to go outside, and then we carried on, and that's when the negative energy, not negative as such I want to say, but angry energy, the male, any less presence befell, and we was pushed back. We was totally pushed back.
in what way were you pushed back? Were they trying to get you out of the place, or do you reckon they were protecting the building or the place? Sorry, the actual graves. What were there?
I can't really answer that because we was pushed back towards the patient's graves.
Right.
So, was this an inmate, a patient that was reaching out for help, or was he feeling that he was still physically going to attack us because we'd harmed him? I mean, a lot of these patients as well, they were locked indoors for hours and hours, and then some of them were just fed bread and jam and water.
Yeah.
He wasn't even fed. I mean, patients were I was reading a case file on it. Some patients on one of the wards in this place were being dragged around by the hair.
Yeah.
If I was one of these energies and I saw three total strangers dressed in dark clothing coming towards me, I think I'd be in the fight or flight mode.
Yeah, I see what you mean on that one. And when you left the grounds, I mean, how did it feel? Did you feel more relaxed? Did you feel a bit guilty going there, or did you feel as if you connected with the place itself? And most of all, would you go back again?
There was a lot of things that me, John and Wayne, because it was so quick and it was so sporadic that it wasn't even supposed to be an investigation. It was so fast, and we kind of sat in the car and just looked at each other and thought, what the hell? What are we going to do? And then we all three said, we want to bring the full team. I mean, I didn't have my partner in crime, Mr. Shell. I didn't have my other partner in crime, Karen, with me.
There was just
my
three of us.
teammates wasn't with me because it wasn't supposed to be an investigation, and it was crazy. And I think sometimes they're the best ones that you just find randomly, that are uninvestigated and raw. It was really good. So we will be going back. We are going to go back when the weather's nice and weather permitting, and obviously with the restrictions we have around us as well, we have to be really careful. But we will be taking the full team in.
And before we finish, Elle, have you got any other places you've got planned, or are you just going to do one of those, let's just go there tonight, because I know obviously we've got the COVID situation, and we've got to stick to, to a certain amount, but it's great that we can get out and walk around. I mean, I've been doing the walk about ghost walks as well, which I've really enjoyed. Plus you get an exercise as well. So have you got anywhere else planned, or is it just a off-the-cuff thing that you're going to do?
It's going to have to be off the cuff until we know, regarding the government's restrictions and what tiers and what places, and we've got places booked for next year, indoor locations. We're just taking it on the whim at the moment, as I know that the majority of paranormal teams out there are having to do the same thing. We've got to abide by the law, we've got to respect the restrictions that are being placed in place to protect us. So, if a location does come up and it's outdoor and the weather's permitting, we wrap up and we'll go. But, then again, you've got the weather element against us. It's that time of year. We're hoping, I had a telephone conversation tonight with some of the team, we're hoping to possibly get out for Halloween. Something's came up on the radar. And the law does state that as long as there's less than 6 of us in an outdoor location, as long as there's social distancing, PPE, we're going to be okay. So we're talking about a possible Halloween one.
Right. Well, if you do go along, please do a little bit of a recording for us and we'll put it on air.
Yeah, and I'd just like to take this opportunity to say I am so sorry for the swear words. I absolutely pooped myself. When Donna left my side, I honestly thought that she was still stood there till I saw a light blue gown, and I thought, you are not Donna. But when, the recording says the rest, and the energy of Kitty, God bless her, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The responses we were getting were phenomenal.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm glad that you sent us the recording in, and we look forward to the next one, Shell. But thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about it. And obviously the listeners have heard it and they can make their own opinion about it. But thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you.
Brilliant. Take care. See you soon.
And you too, Shell. Thank you. Bye-bye. We went over to an asylum to do a little bit of an investigation with, I think it was Donna and Wayne over there. And what a great night they had. But going back to you, Jay, and we were going to talk about, as we were saying before that, we were going to talk about the Akashic Records. So what are the Akashic Records?
The Akashic Records are a record of everything that has ever happened since the dawn of time and creation. Mm-hmm. Every action, every word, every deed, everything, even this now, is going on the Akashic Records. And we have access to the Akashic Records if we can astral project. And we see the Akashic Records when we pass from this plane to the next, when we so-called die. That's when our lives pass before us.
So we can actually, once we pass away, we can actually go into the Akashic Records, or can we do that anytime we want?
We can do that anytime we want if we know how to astral project.
How did it all begin?
Well, Akashic Records.
Yeah.
That's the big. That is the mind of consciousness. That is the mind of God, if you want to call it God.
Right. So, how did people first realise this record?
Because they'd been there, and certain people had remembered the past lives, and they remembered being in the astral planes, before they came to this incarnation.
So if they've had out-of-body experiences or things like that, and that's where it's...
And it is also mentioned in a lot of so-called ancient magical scrolls, esoteric scrolls and what have you.
Right, so that's going back a long time.
Oh, yes, a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's quite eerie what's out there, really, Marie, because, we're just mere mortals, really, because,
we are mere mortals, but as I say, we have so much potential.
Right, but it's like you were saying before, though, with astral projection, you've got to train your body to be able to do all this. Now, is it the same kind of thing? When you astral project, is that what you've got to do to get to the Akashic Records? And what can you see when you get there? How do you know that you're there?
Because we're in a hall of records.
So it's like a library.
Yeah, only on a massive scale.
Right, and obviously you visited these Akashic Records with astral projection. Yeah. Yep. What did you look up? I have to ask.
My past, my possible future, because it's a possibility of futures, because we can change certain things about our lives, and it's like the branches of a tree. We have so much possibilities in our lives, what we can become, what we can achieve. We might be a beggar in our next lives, then again we might be a king. It just depends.
Well, they say before you're born, your path's already been made out for you.
Sometimes preordained, but we still have personal choice. Always
that
choice.
Is the biggest thing,
and that's that is the big thing. Yeah.
So from choice, we can go in whatever avenue we want, and this is, there's a big world out there, but you've got a guideline.
And the thing is, when people say, I want a brilliant job, I want lots of money and all the rest of it, and they look down on certain people like maybe road cleaners or refuse collectors, no job is degrading as long as it's an honest job. We all have our place, and we'd be lost without street cleaners. We'd be lost without toilet cleaners. We'd be lost without refuse collectors.
Yes.
We all have, I might be a good writer and, do the stuff I can do, but I'm lousy at DIY.
Yeah.
Whereas you're actually quite good, Jamie.
But isn't it funny that we've all got skills? And I think, thinking about things like that, we all are here for a reason.
Exactly, we're all here for
we've
a
all
reason.
we've all got these skills, and I mean, I struggle with things. We all struggle with
Of course
things.
we do.
But there's always
And we all
someone.
make mistakes.
Yeah,
we all
of
make
course
mistakes.
We do, yeah, and that's a
human.
learning process. And we've all got someone who'll support you or give you a little bit of a boost or a little bit of a backup. And they're real friends. That they're
and never be
supporters.
afraid to ask for help.
No.
That is the main thing.
That's important.
That is the
It's
best
not a
thing.
weakness.
Yeah, you could be advised, ask for help, and it's that help. Not all the things that's given to you is the right advice, but you pick out what you need from that.
It's like when you read a book or you know about a subject. Whenever I've done talks in the past and things like that, I've always said, ask questions. You've got a brain, you've got a tongue. Ask questions. If you don't think I'm right, that's fine. There's plenty of literature out there. Just because you read one book, you don't know everything.
No, you don't.
No.
There's a lot more different things out there, different people, different views, and people understand it in different ways.
Yeah. So, you said about your book and other books what are out there as well. If you think about it, that's the beginning of the Akashic Records. We're reading, and then when we go into that realm where we can go into the Akashic Records, it's like a big library.
Oh yeah, and there's beings up there who will help you as well.
Yeah.
There's guardians up there.
So like librarians.
Yeah.
And do they stay within that Akashic Records, or do they move on? Is it? I know the questions sound.
They have a job to do, and they chose that job to be guardians.
Yes.
And they're quite happy to stay there. It's like you can we all have karma in our lives, good karma and bad karma. When we pass on, sometimes as human beings, we can choose to buy another person's karma, so they can have an easier life sometimes. And because we've done that karma for the other person, we've helped that other person, it shows well on us. And it goes sometimes because we've taken on that person's bad karma, we're looked at and said, well, we're going to take your karma because you've done that humane thing. And some things, they can be made into, angels do exist.
Yes.
They can evolve into angels.
Right.
So it's nice.
Is that like guardian angels? There's different kinds of angels. I know there's the archangels.
There's a whole hierarchy of angels.
Yeah, because you've got the like archangels, you've got your guardian angels, you've got the what you call angels.
Believe me, angels walk among us. I'm not one of them. Believe me, I'm not one of them.
I believe angels walk
among us.
I think everybody's had the experience of, how did that not hit me, or how did I manage to get away with that? And I think, my belief is that there's something there. It's not your time. Get back, and that's the way it is.
I think I definitely think that as well.
And we all have our time here as well. And when your time is up, your time is up. But never be scared.
No.
Never be scared.
But I think sorry, Jamie.
No, it's okay.
I was going to say we all have these experiences and stressful times and everything that we're going through, whether it's pain, whether it's hospital, or happy things. And I always think that it's experiences. We go through divorces, everything. Yeah. And I think it's an experience. And even though you go through it firsthand, then you're there to give other people advice and experience.
Of course.
And you understand, you have empathy then. You build empathy from that, I think, of understanding others and helping others in the way you can build from that.
As I've said before, if you treat every situation with a good heart, no matter how bad you're treated or how bad it seems, you will be okay, and your karma will be okay. You will get through these things. It's hard. Life is hard at times, and goodness knows we've all been through hard times.
But there's always something, even if it's not from this world, who's there to support you.
Yeah, and karma will come back. Good and bad. But even though we might get bad karma and we might get some injustice, treat it with a good heart.
Now, sorry, Marie. The Akashic Records.
Yeah.
I know this is going to sound silly, and you said to yourself, no question's a silly question really, but it's going to sound silly. are the Akashic Records, are they in categories, or are they in lifespans or something like that? Do you understand what I mean? Like libraries down here are all in order.
If you think about, you can, action follows thought in the astral planes and in the Akashic Records. So if you think, I want to see this, you will see it. Right. So there's no kind of, I don't have to get this book out to see this, what have you. Yeah. Plus, when you talk about time, what is time?
Well, it's us, isn't it?
Exactly. We provide the time. We measure of time.
Yeah.
Time really doesn't exist.
No, it's we created it to organise our lives. And that's how that came about, really.
And time can be accessed. It's like these wormholes, or you talk about the, I'm going on to physics now. You can talk about CERN and the Large Hadron Collider, which is a proton accelerator, which they're experimenting on in Sweden, Switzerland, sorry. Now, lots of advances have been made with that. With they're trying to find the so-called God particle, which does exist, but I don't think they will find it somehow. That's just my theory. But they will find certain things. Believe me, they will. They're doing certain experiments now. But with wormholes, you can travel through time astrally, and if you have the right mechanics and mainly magnets, and if you've ever operated magnets on certain machines, you will know about time distorting. It's like these scanners in hospitals. Certain times they will use magnets to do things, and certain people have seen time distortions because of these magnets.
Nice.
There's one. There's a time loop which has been seen in Bold Street. Now I think
time slips
in Bold Street. Now I think that is down to the Underground Railway, because trains travel around that loop.
Right.
That brings me back to something we've mentioned about before, Jamie, about what you've seen about the lady, and
that's right. It was on. What's the name of the road? I can't remember the name of the road now. It was where Radio Merseyside used to be at that time.
Yeah.
And when they were knocking that road down, was it Paradise Street?
I can't remember.
Paradise Street. It was Paradise Street. They had the hotel opposite.
Right.
And what happened was, I was going to a meeting, and I was walking down that road, and I thought, oh, it's blocked off. I don't know where I'm going, because they had like a wooden fence across it, so you couldn't go any further.
Yeah.
And there was this woman, and I always remember she had like a black top on, a black dress on, but she also had like a briefcase in her hand, and she was walking along.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, she knows where she's going. I'll follow where she's going. Where she goes. Not a great idea to do, but you think it's in your mind. It's an innocent thing where you think, I'll see where she's going. She must know her route.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. And what happened was I was following her, and then all of a sudden, where's she gone? I don't know where she disappeared to there. She must have, and I remember a fella coming over to me, and he tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, did you just see that? And I said, I'm just like, see what? The way you do, you think, well, see what? And he said, I could see you walk, and he said, and I seen you like, following the woman, because you could see you were a bit lost and that. And he said, and she literally vanished in front of you. You didn't see it. You didn't see that. And I said, well, no. I said, I actually thought she'd gone into somewhere like that. And she went, and he said, no, I saw her vanish in front of you. And that was my first experience of something like that. I spoke to someone we know and he actually said, well, what's happening is with Paradise, I think it's Paradise Street, where they were doing all the renovations and changing it and everything else, and that can cause a disturbance. And obviously this woman was still going to where she was working, or where an office or something like that. Sorry. And what was happening is she was going into that time kind of thing, and you were following it, and then she just disappeared. So it was something like that. Now that happened to me back in my old house I used to live in, I'll tell you about that in a minute, because Marie's got a question for you.
In a previous one, haven't you? But I think that takes us back to what you were saying earlier as well, about going into space and going into different what's the word?
Astral projection.
Astral projection. That you're going into that, and people leaving behind? Is it the
A
same?
residue.
Yeah.
An energy residue.
And is that similar to this?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. I mean, it's like I'm sitting on this chair now, but I will get up. Now, if you get an infrared camera and shoot that chair in the dark, you will see the heat.
we've got one of them. We've got a thermal imager.
Yeah.
So
exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
You leave energy, and now that can be left there for quite a while. Quite a while. Your energy can be left there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, we're going to go on to the paranormal in a second, and so I mean that leads on from the Akashic Records and through to the realms and that. Now, these people, I mean, these Akashic Records, can people visit it and then come back to Earth?
Of course,
So what about? We're going to go to the paranormal now, and what about spirits? I mean, yourself, I've been doing paranormal investigations for a long time. You've done it a lot longer than me, and you know more about it than me, and the same as Marie. Marie's been doing it similar to me. These people who we see, or the what do you call spirits, or whatever you want to call them. There's so many different names for them. Are these people in another realm, or are they just passing through, or is it like like you said, there's the stone tape theories and things like that?
Okay, this leads me on to a couple of things really. When I spoke about this guy Magister, in Sefton Park, who I knew for quite a while, before he went, and he went on to a different realm for the rest of time. He wasn't going to come back here, but he left me with certain things and knowledge, abilities, and what have you. I'm not going to go into any of that now, but when he went on his kind of last week here, he introduced me to another being who actually came through a portal in his house. Now, his house was protected from certain entities, which you will see on a lot of films and stuff like that, these sorcerers and what have you. But it's obviously these things are taken from research and life and what have you. So this guy, I'm sitting there by this fire drinking a cup of Turkish coffee, and all of a sudden this, almost like a ring of fire, opens up at the corner of a room, and I'm kind of looking at this, and this guy comes through, this tall, dark-haired guy, and Magister looked around and he went, Simon, good to see you, my friend. And I just went, sorry? I've just seen a man walk through a space from nowhere. Yeah. I said, I'm a bit gobsmacked, to say the least. And he said, this is Simon, he's from another realm, and he will be guiding you when I'm not here, kind of thing. And I thought, okay. So these beings can come through to this realm as they wish, as they want, when there's a need.
Like teachers.
They are teachers, the guides, teachers.
Well, have you seen, I mean, I'm going to just mention on YouTube, I don't know whether you use YouTube a lot or you know.
I've seen YouTube.
Now, there's one on there, Marie's seen it and I've seen it, where there's a vehicle. And what happens is the
vehicle's coming to a person, and
that's right. It's about to
person's moved out the way.
You know the one,
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
So the likes of that, they've come from another realm. Yeah. Now I've watched that video so many times, and I'm trying to look for glitches and things like that, and it's a hard one to decipher if you understand what I mean. And I mean, you've been talking about now people come from other realms. Yeah. Are they watching us all the time?
Yes.
So
well, if you think about it, Jamie, the Akashic is watching us all the time. There are spiritual realms, and if these beings didn't watch us and guide us from time to time, this world is in a bit of a state now anyway. But believe me, it would be in a much worse state.
So do you think that's possible? What Jamie was saying? Could that happen? What was in that clip? Whether that clip's true or not?
Yeah, very much so.
It can actually happen.
Yeah, very much so, and much more.
Yeah.
Right.
And I say that with a smile.
So are they like? Are they like your spirit guides?
They are spirit guides, but they're also. I mean, okay, when Magister was going, he actually took me over to the astral planes, and he showed me this place another place of learning. And he said there's far more information for everything we have in this plane of existence. For every book, there is a book over there the same. And for any lost items, they're also the same.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a counterpart. So for any books I couldn't find over here but once existed, I knew they'd be over there.
Right. Okay.
And all you have to do then is like you were saying about the Akashic Records, is you only have to think about that book. Or
if you have the ability.
It wouldn't be a book, would it? It'd be like a knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be like a book.
And knowledge isn't always in books. It's also in like...
Well, it's your thoughts.
It's almost... It's a thought. It's almost like also like... TVs up there as well, even though not TVs, if you know what I mean. I went to one place where there was 2 pillars standing, and in the middle of them 2 pillars there was some picture forming, and it showed me stuff.
Right. So it's like a video of
like a video.
What we watch now is what you is obviously well beyond what we can imagine.
And the thing as well is when certain people inventions, when certain people will maybe go to sleep on a problem, and then they'll go to these places and I know how to solve the problem because they've been there, they found out the answers, they've come back and they've...
Well, it's funny, that's like dreams. You know, sometimes
exactly. you sleep on it, don't we?
Yeah.
Sometimes when I do crosswords and I'll go to bed on this something, I need to put this down, or write a poem. You know, I've got to write a poem about something, this category or whatever, this, you know, and I'll have the first line and then I'll go to sleep or to the astral planes and I'll bring the rest of it through, and I'm writing the rest of it down. I think, where did that come from? You knew exactly where it came from, Jay, because it's there.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, and I mean, with all this as well, I know that you were into the really into the paranormal at one time,
At
and
one
obviously
time.
you developed and developed.
I'm not being funny, but I've kind of, and this isn't pleased for you both as
paranormal
interviewers, and for all you listeners out there. This isn't being big-headed, but I've moved on from the paranormal.
Whereas we really enjoy it.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Now, I'm going to bring you back to the paranormal because you've done it. You know, what kind of things have you experienced in the paranormal world? You know, I mean, I know you've got a book full. You could probably write
probably will do one day.
You know, you could probably write a full section. You know, on just the paranormal. What experiences have you had?
Well, one of my first interesting experiences. I was sitting at home when I was about 15, 16, listening to my Sony Walkman. As they were in them days, and my mum and dad were just going to bed, and they said, "You're going to be up soon?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be up soon." But I heard this voice saying, "Jay," and I put the machine off and went, "Jay." I thought, where's that coming from? And all it said was, "Go to your local church." I thought, okay. So, and you know, you'll get the answer kind of thing. So I thought, that sounds a bit spooky, but I'm not scared of much. So I got my stuff together and I walked to my local church. I'm not going to say where the local church is, but I went to this church, and I got there. And do you ever remember a film called The Company of Wolves?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Wasn't that Kevin Costner?
No, that Dances with Wolves.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay, this is a bit
Crossed
more
over there,
on the eerie side. It's about werewolves.
Right.
Anyway, there was a main character who played the devil called Terence Stamp. He was the actor. But the other thing was, there was this guy who played this kind of... It was like a little Red Riding Hood kind of wolf. And he was saying to this Red Riding Hood, you know... give us one of your apples or something like that. I'm going to Granny's and stuff. But this character, what he looked like something from the 16th century. You know, with tricorn hat, have I got that right? And very good looking guy. I'm standing there and this guy says, "Hello, Jay." And I turned around, where did you come from? And he said, "I've been watching you for a long time." I said, sorry, watching me for a long time. What do you mean? He said, I've just been watching you for a long time and you have to make a choice. You've been into metaphysics and you've read about the paranormal and all the rest of it. I still didn't kind of have much of an idea what metaphysics was then. But he said, you've got to make a choice. You cannot serve two masters. And I said, okay. He said, you either serve me or you serve, you know, a higher force. And I thought, well, I'm certainly not going to serve anything evil. He said, okay, you've made your choice, you know, stick to it, kind of thing. And since that day, I thought, okay. I was gobsmacked. But I don't know who this being was. He was a good looking guy. But it was watching you for a long time.
Yeah.
What does that
It's a
mean?
bit spooky.
It's a bit,
bit
you know,
airy.
yeah. When we were talking about different realms before,
Yeah,
so
and
was he watching
he'd
you from that realm? Or?
He'd come through from that realm, you know, where I prefer to kind of go with this guy Magister, who I've met.
So
I
that's
thought,
who
you
you
know,
went with.
he's going to be my teacher and guide,
Yeah.
if nothing else. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, do you know, for 20 years I've known you and I've never been on a paranormal investigation with you yet.
Haven't you?
Never.
Oh, no, you haven't.
No,
have you?
we haven't.
We
no.
did one in... We did
Did
a
we?
bit of one in Prescott, if I
Oh,
remember.
yeah, that was in the Schooners Cafe.
That's right.
We'll have to. I mean, I was going to talk about the Schooners Cafe in one of the next shows because
Right.
I mean that was one of our. it was a nice little place. That we went up
it
in the
was.
loft and everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
But I know you've been to a lot of investigations and you've been called out to a lot of investigations because I mean you've told me stories about them.
Yeah.
You know, you've been to places. Where's the most haunted location you've been to and why?
Ooh, that would probably be at the time a place called Shingle Hall.
Right.
Have you ever heard of Shingle Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. Before that, which I hadn't been to, but I wish it was still standing, was Borley Rectory,
Right.
which was down south.
Yeah. Wasn't that burnt down? That
It
one,
was
wasn't
burnt down,
Yeah.
and the guy who actually investigates the haunts the land now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Right.
And was it Peter Underwood?
That's right. Yeah.
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 Yeah. My mind is not failing me just yet.
Yeah. No, you're doing well.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, there's places we've been to. I mean, here, Mill Street. I mean, you've never investigated.
I've never investigated.
Well, we'll
but,
have to get you on one. I know that it's beyond. You know, you're further on than that.
Yeah.
But we're still going to drag you into an investigation.
Well, yeah.
Just to say, I've done one with you. Then. In the
Okay.
end, you know?
Okay. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you'll sit quietly in the corner.
Of
and
course
say
I will.
nothing, you
I'll
know.
just write poetry.
Yeah. Now, when we sit here, when we do investigations here, there's always one person that quite regularly comes through, isn't there, Marie?
There is, yeah.
And that's a lady called Claire. Now, for some, yeah, is Claire
Is
around?
Claire around?
That's James Anthony. That he's done.
By
that
the
for
way,
me,
I like these lights
Yeah.
that you've got on. They're very, very astral.
Yeah, we do
Very
that just to
astral
keep.
plane.
It's
Yeah.
just to calm us, and
Yeah.
sometimes we're up in this room and we're on our own, and it's like a huge place. But she comes through quite often. You know, I mean, she does react to me. Why is that? Why does she react to me and not everybody else? And sometimes, I mean, we talked earlier on to
Maybe
Shell Louise. Yeah,
you have a similar vibe, Jamie.
Well, as I was saying, then I was talking to Shell Louise earlier on. She came on an investigation here, and I was asking the questions for Claire to do things with a light and to bring it on, off. And she was doing it to, you know, I wasn't commanding it. I was asking her.
Yeah,
It's respect,
nice,
you know.
nice.
You've always got to give respect to these people. So, you know, you've just said then that, you know, that it's the vibes, which we could be on the same vibes. And that. Is it also, you know, is she interacting with me, or is it interacting with, like you say, is it my me what I'm sending out there? Is it, can she hear me?
Okay.
I know it's difficult questions.
No,
to ask.
it's no. What we give out, we get back.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're doing things like attracts like, yeah. So what we give out to a person, it's like I'll see someone and I think bad vibe, or they're giving me daggers, or they're giving me bad vibes, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's true. I've met people where I've not done anything wrong.
Spooky.
All kinds.
Well, John, we could go on and on and on because that's one of the most interesting things. But we're coming to near the end of the show now, and I've just got to give one quick shout out for a friend of ours, Bill, who's been in hospital, or he is in hospital, and you know, he's sitting there and he loves these shows. And I just want to say, Bill, please get well soon. We're still here for you. Send us a text, send us a message. We any one of us, we'll always answer you. And I know it's difficult for you because obviously you can't be visited or anything like that. So just a quick shout out to say from everyone at Ghost Quest, and every one of your friends, I'm sure they'll all be wanting to wish you well. And we'd also like to wish Sharon all the best as well, because obviously it's a stress for her as well, and she's his rock, and she's been brilliant. So Bill, I know you're listening. This show was for you. Yeah. And Jay, thanks for coming in tonight. And what a fantastic show that was.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
We've got to drag you in again. And if anybody wants his book, keep a listen out. Like I said before, give us a shout on info@accessparanormal@gmail.com, or please go to the Twitter site, which is hashtag or at Access Paranormal 1. Paranorm 1. And give your book a quick shout out again, Jay.
It's called Magister, Tread the Dark Night Softly.
So that's it for tonight, and thanks for Marie for coming in as well.
It's been great. I've learnt a lot tonight, Jay. It's been brilliant, and I really, I know everybody says it when they say they've got a new book out, but I am absolutely looking forward to it.
Thank you, Marie.
Yeah, me too. So Jay, thanks so much for giving up your time tonight to come into the studio, and you will come back, won't you?
I certainly will.
Because I'm sure when the listeners listen to this, they'll want you back. I definitely want you to come back in.
No problem.
So again, thank you very much, and for everybody out there, we'll be back next week. We'll be having a proper 4-hour show next week. That'll be, I'm not going to say what it is, you'll just have to tune in and listen in. So please stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Good night.